This is your 420 Radio News for Wednesday, October 16th, 2013. I'm Russ Belville. Medical pot case likely to head to North Dakota Supreme Court from GrandForksHerald.com. A case involving a North Dakota couple who say they should not be prosecuted for having medical marijuana is likely headed to the state Supreme Court, their lawyers said Tuesday. Defense attorneys Mark Fries and Charles Sheely say their clients had authorization from Washington state to use marijuana to treat their medical conditions. In one case, Fries said, quote, his medical marijuana authorization allowed him to possess far more than what he possessed here, end quote. Fries and Sheely said their clients plan next week to enter conditional guilty pleas for possession of marijuana and tampering with physical evidence, but deny intent to distribute. Fries said there's, quote, absolutely no evidence, end quote, such as cash, cell phone records, or ledgers that shows the defendants were going to sell the pot. Panel approves rules for Washington pot industry from ABC News. Washington became the second U.S. state to adopt rules for the recreational sale of marijuana this Wednesday. Sales are expected to begin by the middle of next year. Colorado and Washington's rules are largely similar, although Colorado will allow stores to sell both recreational and medical marijuana. Both states will require measures such as seed-to-store tracking, background checks for license applicants, and child-resistant packaging. Under the rules, the board will issue licenses for up to 334 marijuana stores across the state, with 21 of them in Seattle, a figure some have questioned as too low, considering the city estimates about 200 medical marijuana dispensaries are operating there. The rules limit the number of licenses that anyone can hold to 3. They also prohibit out-of-state investment in pot businesses. Packages must carry warnings about the potential dangers of pot use. And Washington's legal marijuana law includes zoning requirements, keeping the businesses away from schools, parks, and playgrounds. California voters could get a chance to decide an open-source marijuana legalization initiative from rawstory.com. A ballot measure that could grant full marijuana legalization in California has been filed, and the language for the initiative was prepared online using a shared document. Supporters of the Marijuana Control, Legalization, and Revenue Act of 2014 have asked the state initiative coordinator to give them permission to circulate a petition, and if they gather enough signatures, voters will have a chance to decide the measure next November. The one-page initial draft was presented, but since then it's gone through hundreds of revisions and grown to 35 pages. If it's approved, the initiative would grant Californians the freedom to use, grow, transport, and sell cannabis subject to reasonable regulation and taxation in a manner similar to alcohol. Cities would also be prohibited from banning medical marijuana dispensaries or severely restricting their numbers. Michigan marijuana grower gives up farm to cops from CBS Detroit. A southeastern Michigan farmer who dodged a prison sentence for growing 8,000 marijuana plants is losing his house and 23-acre farm. An attorney for Ed and Linda Schmeiding, ages 62 and 63, said the couple is not fighting a forfeiture claim by a Michigan State Police drug unit. A trial over the property had been scheduled for Tuesday in Adrian, but attorney James Daly said it would have been difficult to win. Schmeiding began growing marijuana in 2010. Officials said the plants were in various stages of growth, from seedlings to mature plants ready for harvest. Agent Lloyd Hopkins said Linda Schmeiding told police they were paid $500 a week for marijuana, and some pot was sold as medical marijuana. Medford, Oregon bans medical marijuana dispensaries from KVAL.com. The Southern Oregon city will not allow medical marijuana dispensaries to do business in the city limits despite a new state law permitting its sale through pot shops. The action followed the city council's expansion last month of an ordinance banning licenses to businesses that violate state or federal law. State Representative Peter Buckley, an Ashland Democrat, said he hopes cities will hold off on imposing their own restrictions on dispensaries, saying, quote, a wild card thrown into this is that the legislature also passed a bill to regulate genetically modified crops. It regulates all products of seeds at the state level. We're asking council to see whether that law would preclude a city or county from regulating medical marijuana. End quote. This has been your 420 Radio News for Wednesday, October 16th, 2013. I'm Russ Belville. When we come back, we go behind the headlines and take a look at the high cost of opening a medical marijuana dispensary. You're listening to the Russ Belville Show on 420radio.org. We'll be right back. Hey, tokers and tokettes, Radical